exactly 51 kilometers or 51,000 meters from this point here is the center of this cross. This is a Stoy Palace, and it's laid out in a 6-5 pattern. So there's the roof in the form of a 6, and if you knock that bit of lighted roof out there, it's a 5. King Dom Ferdinand II of Portugal, the artist prince, the theosophist, built around this colonnade cross, and I asked them how long it had been there, and they said it's been there forever, just forever. The columns are knocked off at various heights with broken tops, so it's not a scaffold, it's not a gibbet, it's not a cross either, it's a colonnade with 2 axes that you walk through. The view out is absolutely amazing. There's 68 columns in the colonnade cross. That actually, it covers exactly 3,000 square meters to a T. Like, you could take a measurement of the cross and divide it by 3,000, and that would be your meter. That actually codifies a whole lot of things. The left-hand arm of the cross has 8 columns each, and the right-hand arm of the cross has 7 columns each. And if you go through the center of the cross round to the opposite side of the world and add on 88 miles if you're traveling around the world, or 77 miles if you're going by coordinates, it goes to exactly the place that I had my Hemp initiation in 1980 on the 3rd of August, and the Hemp happened around the 6th of August. And I think the 3rd of August was chosen because it was the birth date of Queen Victoria's great-great-great-granddaughter. She was turning 50 on the 2nd of August, and Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was turning 80 on the 4th of August. It turns out that Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was not Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, but was Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon's maid. King George VI married Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon's maid. So at the same time, Queen Elizabeth was gestating in 1925. They brought out Lyon's Made ice cream in Kensington, and then it spread through the rest of England.
So why did they put the maid in there?
George VI married Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon's maid, not Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, and Queen Elizabeth II is the daughter of Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon's maid, not Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, who went to France and married and died in 1950.
Yeah, I know that. But my question is, why did they put the maid in instead of the actual woman who was supposed to be part of the royal line?
She refused to marry George VI because he was knock-kneed, alcoholic, chain smoker, and 1 IQ point above retarded. 67 IQ. What a catch. She refused, and the maid stepped in.
So they said to the maid, "You're it."
Yeah. Elizabeth was actually not born at 17 Bruton Street, but at number 5 Bruton Street, above the pub, above the Coach and Horses Inn. And that's why Coco Chanel, who was in a 19-year relationship with the Duke of Westminster, who owns 600 acres in London and has his own private intelligence agency, he knew that Elizabeth was illegitimate. So did Coco Chanel. And Elizabeth was born above Coach and Horses pub at number 5 Bruton Street, which is why she named her perfume Chanel number 5.
Yeah.
And this became Illuminati knowledge. So Bruton Street, Brute got involved and created Brute 33, Illuminati knowledge of Queen Elizabeth II's illegitimate birth. So this is a colonnade cross, and it alludes to the 6-5, which is the macrocosm, microcosm. In the top right corner here, I've got a close-up of the lintels. The lintels have this pattern of like 3 Christmas trees, but they form 777 in the shade. That's how it alludes to the end times. Font refers to font of titles, and that's 700 royal yards to the apse of the Milru Temple where Jesus was buried. And the temple was still in quite good nick until about 1600 or so. And the Catholic Church raided it and stripped all the high-quality stone out, and it was covered with unglazed gold mosaic tiles, so the gold dust would fall off and gold dust preserves bones, so it was preserving Jesus' bones. The Catholic Church wrapped the remains of Jesus with a red ribbon and a green ribbon, and then presented Jesus' remains to us as Jesus' remains.
Jesus of the Algarve, obviously.
Yeah. This is the colonnade cross. So Jesus had this colonnade cross. It's 700 royal yards from Milru, and this is where he ran his initiations for the Caesars. And then the Caesars would say, what do you want as payment? And he would say, take one of my sons as your own. And he became a senator, and then his son became Emperor Caesar Trajan and began the first of the 5 good emperors.
What year was that?
Emperor Trajan was 98 AD. Paul was in league with Emperor Nero, and Emperor Nero faked his suicide on 9th of June, 68 AD, and Paul disappeared off the scene at the same time. And then they went about rewriting the Bible, had done before as well, taking all the good bits out and the clear bits out and the spiritual bits out, and putting in so many mixed messages that I don't know if anyone can follow it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, follow it literally in their life, in their daily life, and it's just heavily codified stuff. So the Jesus stuff was taken out, predictions was taken out, but still what remains is almost 25% of it is still predictions, which Paul couldn't understand, and they've come true.
Mm-hmm.
So in writing predictions that people couldn't understand, they got left in the Bible. And the whole purpose of having the Christian religion was so that the book of predictions could survive within a religion, and when the predictions happened, people would recognize them. Oh, brilliant scheme. So this cross gives the location of the next Heb Sed festival.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. The beginning of the Heb Sed festival for me was 1970, and I went to this little school here, which is called Sunnybray Normal School. And I lived here, the top left, at Orange Bedeb. This was a normal school, which meant that teachers would stand in the mezzanine and look down in glass and watch the kids. And then occasionally they come down and do some teaching. This was 1970. 1957, the Security Intelligence Service took over education. It got its funding through education and then took over education. So anyone who was predicted was watched in the normal schools and then guided in some way. The Security Intelligence Service or the occult or whatever, some trainee teachers came in, one of them took over the class and ordered me, just me, to run around this rectangle that I've highlighted. And the whole of the school, all in this block, ran up to the windows inside, and some opened the doors, and they're all just ferociously cheering, like just hugely intense. Mm-hmm. They're all in class, and I'm running around this rectangle. And part of the Heb Sed festival is that you run around a rectangle and everyone's cheering intensely. And it just happened naturally.
Mm-hmm.
8/7 means royal, so if this is happening in 1970 when I'm 8, then when I'm 18, the rest of it happens in 1980. 80/70 is royal. So it happened here. This was the event here in Rangarav, which is the Avenue of Awakening. So Eshtoi means I am. The I am Eshtoi Palace Colonnade Cross is 2 arms, 8+8 + 7+7 columns. This is the opposite side of the world, plus 88 or 77 miles. And it's number 18. This is number 20. This is number 16 here to the left, which means any gap in between is between 16 and 18, exactly as drawn on the Rosicrucian Cosmography for King Tut, the boy king. And then the event happened on the left side of this house. The neighbours were reasonably aware of the energy, so they put a couple of sphinxes up here and here, and a totem warrior there. And these crosses are scales, which means marks of initiation. Those X's are marks of initiation. And they put 3 of them up, which is kind of interesting. It was on a road called Aranga Ave, which means the Avenue of Awakening. Very Egyptian street. It rises gently, and there's palm trees either side, and it faces directly north. This bit of the road that you can see doglegs a little bit, and it's absolutely directly north.
Is this in New Zealand?
Yeah, it's in Auckland and Mount Eden.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back to the cave, that's the head set in the cave is 13 yards by 31 yards. There's plasma arcs here, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
31 yards goes between plasma arcs, which is significant. There's the Black Ewe Lamb there, there's Noah's Ark there, cave there. It's exactly 51,000 metres to the cross from the cave, and it's 13 kilometres to the 6-5 point. The roof form of Stoy Palace, the I Am Palace, is in a 6-5 shape, literally. At the 6-5 point, there's a vortex point in Earth that I discovered. The macrocosm energy comes in from above, goes into the Earth, and then the 5 energy comes out. So it's like this funnel of energy. When I was there, it was a very rare time that actually had some fine grass there. But if you put silica sand there on a board, it turns into a pentagon for about a minute and a half, and then it changes shape into a hexagon for about a minute and a half, and it changes shape into a pentagon. So it's like a natural point where the Earth is breathing in and out.
Yeah.
You know? And the whole of the Algarve is known as a superior energetic bed. Some people go there and they can't handle the energy, and other people go there and they go, I can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Very strong energy. It's in the cave. When I got the phone call to represent the End Times New Age, I had to come from here and run through the Hempstead rectangle and around to take the phone call to represent the End Times on the same cliff face that Raleigh had drawn. So there's about 420 years of history there.
Mm-hmm.
So Raleigh comes there in July 1596 in the cave, and the name of the town is actually Cave Owero.
Mm-hmm. Well, where is the cave?
Yeah, exactly. Where is the cave? It's very hard to find. Now there's a boardwalk over it, but even then it's very hard to find.
Mm-hmm. So what was the nature of the phone call on June 2nd?
We've been selected by the Priory de Sion to represent the End Times. It's a great honour. They want a sacrifice. You're the sacrifice.
And where do I lay my head?
Well, so that's the second Hempstead there. And the reason that was the second Hempstead is I was there in the cave. Someone announced that I was dead on the internet on the 14th of June 2014, about 3 weeks before the End Times began. I didn't find out until the 19th of June when I went up top and borrowed a friend's computer and we all sat around.
You didn't find out you were dead for a few days, huh?
5 days. Went up and had a beer and having a salad and having a chat with some friends. Go on the computer, use the email, and hey, I'm dead. Look at this. So we all sat around having a beer and we'd laugh at it, reading all the newspaper articles, all the articles on my death. So that was the Hempstead Festival because it was 5 days. It was not too far from August. I was in a cave and people were cheering, either cheering that I was alive or cheering that I was dead.
Yeah, well, maybe you're both.
Well, yeah, exactly. Legally. In the top right here, you can see an orange line there. It's the path that Raleigh drew. Very steep, precarious path.
Mm-hmm.
And in the top right, when you see the white bit there, that's actually reasonably vertical cliff face falling away.
Mm-hmm.
In 2017, the times of the end, that was the oak tree, which is, again, Zeus's thunderbolt in the sky with no lightning, which is another prediction fulfilled. That it's an oak tree. It's a monster with 1,000 eyes in front, 1,000 eyes behind, 1,000 eyes within, and they're open day and night. It's an oak tree. This form here forms the 7 as in 2017 with the wing of the castle there. Mm-hmm. And the TS, Nortino TS. Nortino means Fortuna Isis, and TS is Tempos Delphin, which is times of the end. Here, that gives the shin is the 25th of July, 2017. And on the little book on Raleigh's portrait, it says 25/7. So this was struck at midnight on 25th of July, 2017. Well, the trumpets are blasting out of the castle, you see, which means President Trump. But also there were amazing trumpet sounds coming from deep underground from the direction of the tree at all odd hours. You know, it was like massive mining going on underground. It was just underground, and then I'd go there, and then it was away somewhere else. And a lot of people were reporting these trumpet sounds coming from underground, which the trumpet coming out of a church castle on wheels, which is a vehicle, is signaling the king, and it's signaling the times of the end and the end times. In a field about July.
Yeah.
And it's all written up as the creation of the new age.
Well, here we are then.
Here we are. We're actually in the new age, yeah. I've done a lot of research on the Oak Island treasure, Nova Scotia, and it's one of those stories where you can do huge amounts of research or you can just get to the point. So I'll just get to the point. The Masons bridged the gap of the Bible's missing links because Paul removed so much out of the Bible and he didn't know what he was removing. When there's a gap in the Bible, Masons codify it. And one of the things they codify is that the oak tree is hugely important. If you don't know what it is, it's probably an oak tree. So they named Oak Island in Nova Scotia, which is a tiny little island, about 1 square kilometre. With the hand of God coming down in the Rosicrucian Cosmography, the hand is holding on to some cloth, which it's actually Nova Scotia. Off that is Oak Island, where the Oak Island treasure was. The Oak Island treasure in Nova Scotia are very good maps of the hand holding the cloth, the hand of God. The cloth is material, and it's Oak Island. So what they're saying is the oak is material to the story. The TS stands for Tarquinius Superbus, who was the last king of Rome, and he killed his father-in-law, who was the previous king of Rome, the last benevolent king of Rome, called Servius Tullus. And Servius Tullus was a commoner, but he picked up a rod of oak, and it changed his fortune from a commoner to a king. So that's what the story is about. The TS is about the rod of oak. So what happened from the thunderbolt, not lightning, the thunderbolt striking the oak tree exactly 777 metres from where I am right now, that was rendering in the end times. Absolutely great fortune for the person who gets the rod of oak, which is me. So the Masons bridge the gap in the Bible's missing links, awaiting the chosen one to answer. Zeus's thunderbolt is the hand of God that strikes the oak inland, Oak Island inland, to produce the material treasure. If you go from where I am, which in this planet Earth, on the right-hand side, you've got Great Yarmouth, which is 30 miles from me. Then you've got Yarmouth and Yarmouth Castle on the Isle of Wight. And then you've got Yarmouth in Nova Scotia, Oak Island, Yarmouth in Maine, and then you've got Yarmouth in Cape Cod. And they form basically a straight line as wide as it's drawn. There's all these Yarmouths, and Yarmouth means ready and prepared utterance. And from Great Yarmouth in the UK, 30 miles from where I am, to Hallett Road in Yarmouth and Cape Cod, which is named after my ancestor John Hallett, it's exactly 3,330 miles. And 17 miles east of that, 17 means Portugal, was Maria Goody Hallett became engaged to the Prince of Pirates Black Sam Bellamy, who was Sir Walter Raleigh's grandson. And they're both princes and both pirates. And lots of codes there. So that's the Oak Island treasure codes there.
Yeah, read through it.
The Oak Island treasure is a legend of Nova Scotia, which means New Scotland, and is thoroughly Masonic. Masons enact the Bible almost to the letter. Where the Bible is missing a link, Masons bridge the gap, then draw attention to the missing link they've provided. All solutions are then considered insufficient until the targeted individual provides the answer. Only the chosen one can reveal the revelation. The revelation then marks the chosen one in multiple ways. So the chosen one is a targeted individual who fulfills the Masonic bridge of the Bible's missing links. This takes the form of fulfilling revelation. It includes being predicted by name, description, event, animate objects rendered, and inanimate objects built. The purpose of the Masonic Oak Island treasure is to keep Oak Island in the mind's eye. Here, God's hand clasps material in the shape of Nova Scotia and Oak Island. So look for God's hand materializing in the oak when a new Scotland is emerging, which is now. Scotland's considering independence. The Oak Island treasure was Masonic machination from 1787-98 to 2008. It lasted 210 or 221 years, rendering the numbers 21 and 22. 21 means the Shin or forbidden secret, most powerfully rendered 777. 21 is named here as Septentrio, which equals 7 thrice. Cleverly shortened from Septentrionalis, for north. Septentrio 777 equals 21 equals the Shin and end times and Ishtoi Palace, all codified as 777. Septentrio also means 7 bullocks or 7 hard labours. The Oak Island Invisible Masonic Treasure Money Pit went through 7 hard labours in the 1790s, 1802-04, 1845, 49-50, 1857, 1861, 63, 64, 66, 1897, 1930s, and 1967. 22 equals MM equals Masonry's highest order, used to push the reset button, as in firing the Masonic cannon, which St. Anthony of Lisbon and Portugal contemplates. St. Anthony is also drawn as Sir Walter Raleigh, the principal discoverer of Rosicrucian revived.
Old map before the United States existed of North America, and across North America was written Septentrionalis.
Well, it means north. It also means the Shin, the forbidden secret. This is the initiation well at Regaleira Palace, completed in 1910 in Sintra. It's exactly 1 kilometre from where Prince Marcos Manuel, who's King John II of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and all Ireland, where he was buried for the first 4 years of his death. This is exactly 1 kilometre away. It opened at the same time he died.
Quite an amazing construction.
It is. It is. It is absolutely fantastic there. When you get out the top, there's this huge stone door. It's about 2 meters wide and it's about that thick and it's about 2 meters tall. And it's just one piece of stone, weighs about 2.5 tons. And it's just pivoted. You just turn it and you go out. And so when you walk past it, it just looks like a stone slab on a wall.
Mm-hmm.
So you push it, pivots, and then you walk down this. And then when you get down the bottom, there's 2 tunnels, incredibly poorly lit, which is great because you've got to walk through a bit of darkness and then there's a bit of floor lighting. And then you come out into this magnificent stone waterfall, stone bridge, and all sorts of mythical sea characters. It's fantastic. The whole garden's got the best sculpture, most lively. You can go up and you can touch everything. I used to live about 1 kilometre from there for about 6 months. So I went there wherever I could. And when I first went there, I got the phone call saying, come to dinner. And it was a birthday dinner for the last family to live in there. It grows great moss in Sintra.
Mm-hmm.
Been a great audience.
Thank you. I got a lot of my questions answered. Quite fascinating. Go to Greg's website, kingof.uk. I highly recommend reading his books. It's quite extraordinary. It'll lay a foundation of understanding what has really been going on with all of this very deeply complexified codification of the matrix in which we live, leading to what conclusion? Next time, what I want to start with is, okay, so you're the king of the world, the harbinger, the bringer of the new age. What does that mean? And what does it mean for the people of this world? And everybody pick up Greg's book. Thanks a lot. It was really fun.